This is Gio, co-host of the After Away from the Rink podcast. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not reflect those of the hosts or producers. This podcast contains discussions of drugs, alcohol, trauma, and other sensitive topics. Listener discretion is advised. The content provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended as medical, legal, or professional advice. If you need help, please contact a number in our description or simply send us an email at afterpodcastofficial@gmail.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Episode 7, Away from the Rink After Podcast. Got myself, DJ McGrath, co-host Giovanni Flaminio. G-Bones, how you doing today, brother?
Doing great, DJ. Great to be back on. Shit, man, episode 7. Kind of crazy. It's just flying by, man, but loving every minute of it.
It's awesome. This is kind of like my therapy, bringing on different people and sharing their stories and getting to hang out with you, man. I think it's pretty awesome doing it the right way. I was kind of talking to you before, and I think this is a great thing to start off this podcast is, you know, maybe having to leave certain circumstance, maybe not playing a certain sport, maybe leaving concerts, not going to restaurants kind of thing when you're in that addiction. And now you got to work on yourself. For myself, I went to a Rush game last night. First one in years. I think the last one was when I was going through my active addiction. Did I remember it? Probably not. But I had to stay away from that kind of environment most of my recovery. It's been almost 4 years now. I haven't been to a Rush game since. And it just goes to show that anything is possible. You know, you work on yourself away from everything, away from social media, behind the scenes, you're putting in that work. And now that, you know, that it switches. Now you're okay going to those things. I was telling you guys, like, I was having fun. Guys beside me were hammered, drunk. You know, I felt some beard landed on my shoulder, but I didn't care. You know what I mean? And the coolest part I say about it all is getting in that vehicle and driving home. And no worries in the world. It was such a good milestone for me, you know, something that I know that I'm comfortable going to, like weddings, birthday parties even, man. I was uncomfortable going to those things. It wasn't so much like people judging me or what people are going to think of me because I don't care about those things, but like, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able, is it going to come back to me? You know, and do I want to drink? But no, that was a big moment for myself because I went home, woke up this morning feeling fresh, and now I'm on a podcast today. So how about you, G? I know you went to a concert a couple weeks ago. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that, man, because I think, like, it's, especially early on in my recovery stints, like, I definitely had to avoid those types of situations, man. It was, you know, don't love the word triggering, but it was definitely, you know, you're at risk when you're around, you know, for me, drugs and alcohol, but just that environment, and it was challenging. But like yourself, I've learned to be okay in those spots today, and almost to the point where you can enjoy it to a certain level. But, you know, I'm, like you said, you have your own vehicle there. There's always an escape route for me, right? There has to be. I've at least set myself up for that. But yeah, the concert a couple of weeks ago, I've been to a good handful since I've been sober, but this was a metal one. It was a little bit more edgy, intense, right? And but it was cool. Went with some other recovery dudes, you know, and we just, you know, went for a bite to eat prior. It was an outing, and you know, that's the stuff I didn't know was possible. When I first cleaned up, I thought, like, the party's over, the fun's over,
yeah.
right? And truth be told, like, it's more fun now because I get to be present and enjoy those experiences, man. So yeah, I'm glad you were able to enjoy that last night, man, and, you know, plenty more to come, hopefully.
Yeah, dude, and I'm happy you said that because I remember early in my sobriety, someone told me that they were trying to get sober and they're like, fuck, all my fun's going to be gone now. You know, I'm going to be sober. I won't be able to drink. I won't be able to have fun. And like something like that always clicked with me. But now, like, the funnest part is being able to go and do those things sober and actually fucking enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't. I was so used to being the party animal, dancing on tables, trying to be the drunkest guy to make everyone else feel good. Fill up everybody's cup where I'm draining myself and I go home and I hate myself. You know what I mean? And it was an everyday cycle. So thank you for sharing that, man, because I think it's going to help out somebody out there. Maybe they're early in their sobriety. Maybe they think all the fun's gone. Well, keep work on yourself, man, and get there. So.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Growing up, one of my buddies always told me he was from San Diego, and he said, like, we would never go out to the parties, and he'd always say the party is where we're at. And I still have that where it's like, if I'm missing out on something, I always just think the party's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Yeah.
If I'm at home, the party's where I'm at. If I'm at the gym, the party's where I'm at. If I'm at work, it's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm missing anything that way.
Yeah. That's a good way of doing it, because that's confidence, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you know, you're not, the FOMO, your fear of missing out on stuff. Well, no, the party, everything comes to you. And that's a good way of saying it, man, because there's a lot of people that are scared of missing out on stuff, and you're sitting at home by yourself or whatever. But when you have good homies, good support crew like that and tell you that and support you, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Cutting that voice right there, might as well get right into that. Me and G-Bones are super fired up for this one. Some dreams are bigger than most of us can imagine. But for Colton Stephenson, hockey was more than a dream. It was his life. Drafted in the 2007 by the Edmonton Oil Kings in the WHL draft, Colton was a rising star, competing every day with his brother Chandler in the basement, 1v1, pushing each other to be their best. But the road wasn't easy. He missed most of the 2009-2010 season with a serious neck injury, and by 19, after his 5th diagnosed concussion, he faced the hardest decision of his life. Walking away from the game he loved. He remembers driving home with his Jeep packed, crying the whole way, realizing all the moments he never get to experience again. But Colton didn't let that stop him. He turned heartbreak into purpose, becoming a kinesiology student, personal trainer, owner of Stephenson Athletics, a proud uncle, and a skills coach, shaping the next generation of hockey players. Behind the scenes, he's been guiding force for his younger brother, Chandler Stephenson of the Seattle Kraken, helping him chase their shared childhood dream, reaching the NHL and lifting the Stanley Cup. This is a story about resilience, brotherhood, and redefining purpose when the forces you rewrite your story. How I like to start this podcast, Colts. How are you doing today, man?
I'm really good right now. 40 hours in on a water fast, so kind of hungry,
Nice.
but feel very clear.
Yeah. Before I ask you this question, pull up this video here. You're doing a fast. I want you to kind of tell these listeners, because it's important. I know we all look up to you in these things, and you kind of give us some different tips. And one of these things is fasting. Can you kind of give a little background? Maybe someone told you to do this, and you know the importance of it, and kind of little what is fasting, kind of little background on it.
Well, I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I'm very active in my job, so I haven't really had a chance to take some time off of food. And we're not skating that much right now, so I'm not burning as many calories. So I thought it'd be a good time to give my body a reset. And they say after 48 hours, your body starts to like eat its damaged cells. So like the cells that aren't being used or aren't being like healthy, the body will start eating that. And then it's kind of like a full body reset. And I didn't realize I was addicted to food until now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm looking forward to the next meal. I'm looking at the commercials and food I don't even like. I'm like, oh, I want that. And it's just, I'm kind of getting a clear view of like how addicting everything is. And especially food, and how I'm in control of my flesh and what goes into me. And no matter how bad I want it, I can say no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with alcohol and drugs. It's like, no matter how bad you want it, you can say no. And food's a drug. Like it can be if you overeat, and you use it to cope. People use food to cope. And I just wanted to I like to challenge myself with stuff that I would have never done this. I love food and I eat so much. So, and it's been really hard, but being able to say no to your body saying we need this so it gives you confidence, because it doesn't matter how you feel when you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your body will tell you need to eat, you need this, you need that. And as long as you're okay in your head and you're mentally like strong and capable, you can pretty much do anything. And that's kind of why I wanted to do it.
Yeah, I think that's important stuff. And especially how you said you could relate it to addiction, right? And food is a coping mechanism. I know from my personal story, I quit drugs, I quit cocaine, I quit drinking, but I picked up the 5-cent candies. And it's just like when something's going on in my life, or I'm bored or I'm stressed or something, like that's the initial thought. So what do you do, Colts, now that you're fasting right now and you want to grab and go to the fridge? Like, what's some things that you've learned, maybe you could help out somebody that's been helping you stay not eating right now?
Well, I'm sure you guys feel this is one more day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was like, I wanted it so bad. I wanted to eat, and I just got to get through this day. And then today I woke up and just thought the same thing. I just got to get through today. Because if I thought about it in the 4 days that I'm doing it, I would never do it.
Yeah.
It's just 1 day at a time and 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
And right now I'm just continuing saying no to the food, and it's hard, but as long as I can keep putting it away, it's helping me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to just show myself that I'm in charge, no matter how my feelings or my head or my body makes me feel or what it makes me think I need. But like, I know what I need.
Yeah.
And it tries to tell me, like, it tried to tell me last night I need to eat some pizza with my girlfriend
Yeah.
at 9. And it's like, no,
No.
like, you can't.
Yeah.
And then this morning, like, I wanted breakfast, but like, you can live a long time without food.
Yeah.
But we've been told that we need 3 meals a day. We need to snack 2 times a day. And it's the only people that make money then is the people that sell the food.
Yeah, no,
You know?
exactly. And I think that's inspiring stuff, man, because it doesn't work that way with many people, you know, like that strong, resilient, strong-minded and sticking to it, because it's hard. I've done that plenty of times. So props to you. I kind of want to show a video of Colton here back in 2020. I think this is a pretty powerful video of Colton back in CTV, kind of back when he was in going through it. He quit hockey at 2019, and now 2020, he's back in school and doing skills coach and everything. It's a pretty important piece here. So if you want to play this.
Colton Stephenson has spent his life around hockey.
When I was little, I never imagined my life without playing in the NHL.
After his first junior camp at 16, Stephenson started working with trainer Chad Martin, who went on to play an integral role in his life.
I wanted to be like him. He was like a 30-year-old stud, and he would do things that I wanted to do. So he was my idol.
Stephenson played parts of 4 seasons with the WHL's Edmonton Oil Kings before retiring at 19 after his 5th diagnosed concussion.
It was the hardest decision I've ever made. I remember I drove home with my Jeep packed and I cried the whole way home, and just imagining all the stuff that I wouldn't get to do again.
It's hard as a mother, like when they're hurting, you're hurting. And you know, it's in hockey, when the highs are high, you enjoy it because the lows are low, and it's really crappy when the lows are low.
Not one to be defeated, Stephenson channeled the drive that made him an elite hockey player and helped push his younger brother Chandler to achieve both of their goals, making the NHL and becoming a Stanley Cup champion.
Brotherly inner competition, you know, you always want to be better than them and chase them and be stronger, and you always just want to kind of have the bragging rights at home.
Now in his final year of kinesiology, Colton is using his experiences to help mold the next generation of Saskatchewan hockey talent as a trainer with Counter Moves Hockey.
I was building a blueprint on how to make an NHL player almost. I just didn't know that. It's just cool to see the kids light up and when you make them better, and I know things that I wish somebody would have told me.
At 28, Stephenson has become that older stud that young hockey players strive to emulate as they look to achieve their goal of representing Saskatchewan in the NHL. Brendan Purdy, Global News.
That's a pretty cool video, man.
It's awesome.
I get chills when I see that. Not because you're one of my best buddies, but just like, you know, you went from somewhere in your hockey career thinking, because I knew you when you were a kid, man. Everything was hockey. If you knew Colton Stephenson, Chandler Stephenson, it was hockey. And that's all it was. And I wanted to ask you, there's a very important piece that I got out of this, Colt, and I think it's very important for you to share. After your 19-year-old year and out of your control where your hockey career had to end. You said you packed up that Jeep from Edmonton to Saskatoon and you cried the whole way home. It's normal, man. That's thoughts and feelings. And you know, hockey was your everything. That was your identity. Now that you're 33 years old, now you put in all that work on yourself. You're doing incredible work, Colts, helping out these athletes. What's something that you could say if you were in that vehicle with young Colton at 19 years old?
It's going to be okay. Before I made that decision, I knew 6 months before that I had to stop. But I wouldn't let myself, like, I knew in my heart that I had to stop playing, but I wouldn't let myself make that decision. Mm-hmm. And I was just dragging it on for as long as I could because I knew I didn't want to make that decision, but I knew it was coming. And they actually let me go home to make the decision. So I went home, and I had already known, but I went home for 4 or 5 days and talked to my parents and just told them how I was feeling and that it wasn't going to keep going, and that I just felt like that no matter, every time I let my head heal, I'd go back and it'd happen again. And the more I got them, the easier it was to get them, and the longer the symptoms lasted. And those symptoms are what they kind of taught me about mental health, because I was a very positive person and like you couldn't get me down. And then once I got a concussion, it changed how I thought. The voice in my head changed. I was mean to myself. I was mean to other people. I just irritable. And I was like, this isn't me. So my brain's a big part of this. Cause like, if I can be this person when I'm healthy and I can be this person when I'm not, obviously this brain thing plays a big part in it. And when I made the decision to stop, I told the Edmonton Oil Kings that I wasn't going to keep going. They didn't like that. They wanted me to stay and keep playing on the team. But I knew the way I played and how I was, like I couldn't put on my helmet and not try and be the toughest, baddest guy on the ice. So when I told my coach, he told me, we're not going to make a kid play that doesn't want to play. And that's when I realized like I wasn't going to play for that guy. I didn't want to play for that guy. He was asking me to put my health on the line, and he didn't really understand who I was. And so it kind of made the decision even almost easier in a way, because like I was almost like, fuck that guy, you know, packed my Jeep. And that's when things kind of like hit me that like, okay, I made the decision. This is not like hockey's done. I remember driving home and just like all the thoughts, just like all the work I put in, the reps, the time like on the ice, and just like for nothing. But now that I'm here, I was creating the person I wanted to be, and that person could then do anything. So the person that I created to make the NHL, who didn't make the NHL, could then go. I felt like I could do anything after that. So like kin, which is like, or like school was the hardest thing in the world because it was using my brain. But because I believed I could make the NHL, I believed this kin thing's nothing, you know? And it took me 10 years to get a 3-year degree, but I'm so like stubborn and like I have zero quit in me. So I should have quit a bunch of times in school. Like I was kicked out for my grades not being good enough. And like, it was hard. And the mental health of school, they don't care about your mental health. So like my depression and anxiety and like suicidal thoughts were like the worst in school, because that was my new identity and I sucked at it. Yeah. So I went from being one of the top players, like top percentage of people in hockey, to then now I'm like the worst at school. And I'm going, well, you should see me physically. Yeah. And they're like, well, we don't care about you physically. We just care about what you can memorize. And so then I had to change how I thought I was and who I thought I was. And like, I never read that much. Like I had to start reading, you know, I had to start studying. I had to start going to bed early. I had to start eating right and doing all the things that like made me successful, because I couldn't go out and live like all the other students without struggling. Like they could go out and study, and because they had normal brains. I never had a normal brain. So I couldn't go out. I couldn't cram the night before. I couldn't take 5 classes. So it was a big wake up call that it was hard to like realize that I'm not as capable as I once was, and I might not be as healthy as I thought I was, but that's okay. And to take it at my pace. So like I got put into disability services in the school. So like I got a note taker and got to write my tests in like a private room and stuff. But the only way to get that is if you have like an actual disability. And like, it was hard for me to admit that I had a disability, because like you have to go and get interviewed that like you're not just taking advantage of the system. Yeah. So like I had to really like come to terms with, I'm not who I thought I was. I'm not as healthy as I thought I was. I got to look after this. I can't live like a normal person anymore. Like I got to be in bed by 9. I got to have the most strict schedule for me to stay on top of my shit. And the moment that I stop with my habits and start like not looking after myself, shit starts going. Like I start getting depressed. I don't feel as good in my body. I start eating shit, drinking shit. Like I'll start eating candy. So like it's just like a snowball effect that like when you're looking after yourself, things are good, and then as soon as you let it slip, it can go.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. And yeah, thanks for coming on, Colton. Really appreciate it. I just got to meet you here, short while ago, and respect you a ton already, man. I wanted to, I took a lot from that video, that intro video, very powerful. I wanted to touch on that mentorship element, you know, that your late mentor that you referenced there at the start. What was that like? I know he trained you and your brother. How did that impact you, you know, once your hockey career was done, your playing career? And, you know, second part of the question, how important do you think it is for these young athletes to have a mentor, someone who's been through it to look up to and help guide them that, you know, is maybe outside of a parent or a family member?
For sure. I remember growing up and like I looked up to every guy that was older than me and where I wanted to be. Like if they were tier one older than me, I look up to everyone and I wanted to be like them. And Chad, it's kind of funny how things work out. So when I got drafted to Edmonton, they called me and said, "Hey, do you have a trainer? Are you working out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I work out. I rollerblade to Lakewood by myself." And they're like, "Okay, well, we want you to get a trainer. There's a guy there named Chad Martin we'd want you to work with." And gave me his number. Had no idea who this guy was. I reached out to him, met him, and he was probably the coolest guy I've ever met. He was the one that made me and Chandler believe that we could make it. He was a firefighter, and my mom, I remember we came in and we were meeting with him, and he was telling us the plan and how we were going to do it. And me and Chandler were so motivated. And my mom says to him, "Well, what if they want to be firefighters?" And I was like 14 at the time. Chandler was 12. And Marty said, "These guys are going to the NHL." And no one ever said that to me or like us. Like my parents never said, "You guys are going to the NHL." They just said, "If you guys want it, you better work hard." And he was the first guy that was like, "I'm on your side. I got your back. We're going to do this." And we're like, "Let's go." And he made me into at 16, I won fitness testing at Edmonton. At 17, I won fitness testing. At 18, I won fitness testing. And it was all because of him. I was just chasing Marty. Like I wanted to be like him. If he squatted a certain amount, I would try to squat the same. I'd be going for it. Like I'm gonna catch you one day. And I just had this mentality of like I'm just gonna catch Marty. And then whenever I'd go to camp, I'd be against 16 and 20-year-olds, and they weren't Marty.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you guys are nothing compared to the guy I was just going against all summer, or my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Chandler were just head to head all the time with Marty, just pushing. And we didn't know what other people were doing. We just knew what we were doing. So then when we went to camp to show what, like we had agents and stuff that like I wanted to make my agent proud. You know, like he was paying for my training. I wanted him to know that his money was being used to like for good. So whenever I went, I was like, I had like Marty's name on the line, my agent's name on the line, my name, my parents. So that's why I approached like training and like going to camp. They're like, I want to make my name proud. And because of Marty gave me that, he made me want to be something more than I was and made me believe that I could be. So the kids like listening now, it's like, you have to look up to you got to pick someone that you want to be like and try and be like them. Or if you don't have someone, find out who you want to be and act like they would act. And that's how you get confidence. And you only get confidence by doing the things that you say you're going to do. And Marty, he was always there to train me. And he never complained about anything that he was going through with his cancer and his brain tumors and stuff. So I felt like I couldn't either. And losing hockey, it was just like I had a role model that had to actually fight a life challenge versus like hockey challenge. Like losing hockey is not as hard as battling cancer. So that when I was driving home, like he had passed away. So like when I was 18, he passed away. So like a year later, I had to retire from hockey, lost my mentor, lost hockey. And like, it was like a whole thing, but the way he not raised me, but the way he made me think was that it's going to be okay because I'm willing to work and do anything to get what I want. And just because that didn't work at hockey doesn't mean I can't put that into something else. And the energy that I put into hockey was like a lot. And I don't know many people who ever put as much energy as I did into hockey. And if I can do that, I can put that energy somewhere else. So it's hard to find. It's like you gotta if it's like chasing, you can't catch two rabbits at the same time. You can only chase one. And hockey was my rabbit. And then once that changed, it was like, oh shit, now what? And the way I thought was that if I ever stop hustling and grinding, Chandler will catch me. and I'll never let that happen. And he knows that, but it's just this thing, because if I did it for myself, I would have quit long ago, but I had to create something, or I had to do it for someone that I cared more about. And I picked Chandler, and I'm willing to do anything for Chandler. So that's why I use him as my motivation.
Wow.
So you could call him my mentor, I guess, but it's like him and his kids and his family. Like, I want to be the best uncle I can be for them and him. So I'll never stop taking care of myself so I can be the best for them and like my family and my girlfriend.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring stuff. Like, not many guys, it's mentality. Hey, something bad that could happen to him and in his career, and for everything he's chased for, everything he's worked for, you're dialed in, man. You wanted to make the NHL, and it seemed like you had the support in that, and then this happens. Now, Colt, I wanted to ask you, and make it a little touchy here, but when you were done hockey and you had to figure out going to kinesiology, obviously you had that fighting mentality and you did not want to quit and stuff. How were you in that time when you had to figure out who Colton Stephenson was other than a hockey player? How were you in that time? Were you talking to anybody? Like, would you go to counseling or anything? Or like, how did you deal with that time?
Not well. Because I didn't really know. I was just I did it alone for a lot of the time. And then there came a time where I actually got a concussion while I was in school, and I couldn't write my tests and I couldn't study. So I had to tell the school that like I had to take a break from school because of my head. And then that's when I got to meet with like a person and kind of started talking about just what I was going through and stuff. And I remember seeing therapists, but none of them had done and gone through what I went through. And like I was talking to women and stuff, and nothing against women, but they didn't play a contact sport, and were like being around men and that manly man like mentality that like I remember my coach coming in and like I was like so concussed, and him going, "Colton, like, Stevie, are you ready to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. I'll do this." But my trainer's like, "We're not ready to go." But my coach is calling me out saying, "Let's like, are you ready?" And it's like, I'll play injured.
Yeah.
But that's not what's best for me. And that I kind of had that same mentality through school, but it didn't help me because I was battling all this stuff that I sucked at on my own. And then until I came clean with like my parents, I finally told my parents, like, I'm struggling in school. Like, I'm not okay. They like, just that helped. Telling my friends, just that, like, just being honest with that you're not, people like, I don't know, like you try and put on a face that you're doing really good because you don't want other people to worry about you. Like, I didn't want my parents to worry about me. I didn't want them to actually know how bad I felt because I didn't want them to feel bad, so I didn't tell them. But then they were worried about me. They were feeling like shit because they knew I was struggling. And then finally when we talked, it was just nice to tell them that I was struggling and have them sit there and listen, because even when I quit hockey, I never told them that.
You didn't, eh?
No, I never told them that until I was in school, and school was really kicking my ass, that I was like, okay, I need to tell someone that I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And like, my parents never went to school, so they never really understood, but they sat there and listened.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of all I needed.
Yeah.
And just, I think like after that, it was just, I realized everything was going to be okay. Like, and it didn't matter. Like, I was always worried about like getting my degree done in time, but it didn't, like, cause I had 5 years of tuition paid for.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to get it done in 5 years. And then when I didn't, it was like, well, I can just pay to go to school too.
Yeah.
And then, so I just paid my way for the last 4 years and got my degree. And like, when you pay for something, you change.
Yeah.
Like, it changes the way you go about it. Like, when it's coming out of my pocket, that like I had to go to work to pay for this schooling, I studied different versus when the WHL paid for it. Like, when the Dub paid for it, I wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't.
Sorry, Colts, but when you said, like, this is why we do this podcast, like, about this parent situation, I was the exact same. Like, probably you. I was scared of letting them down. What are they going to do? And yeah, they didn't have the knowledge. Our parents, I don't blame my mom and dad for, when they listened to me. When I came out clean, and my mom and dad, the best thing they did for me was let me talk. No interruptions. Because if they did, I would have said, fucking see you later. And I wanted to ask you, because I know your parents, man, and they're super supportive. Hell, we get to go to Stevenson's house on Fridays and have home cooked meals. Like, they're absolutely unbelievable. But this was like a big shock / like came out of nowhere what happened to you, because I knew you guys back in the day. It was hockey, and this happens. Now, when you told your mom and dad, how was their reaction? Did they know?
They knew.
Yeah.
They knew that. Like, my mom was going around to like the places I worked, my friends, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Not wrong with me, but seeing what's up with Colton. And then finally I just sat them down and told them. But like, my mom was trying to figure out what was wrong with me because I wouldn't tell her. And I'm okay. I'd go to school, go to work, just put my head down, and because that's what you're told to do. And finally, it was just nice to like get it off your chest that what you're going through. And like, even like, I never told Chandler because I didn't want, like, he was going through his whole hockey career, doing his own thing. The last thing I wanted him to worry about was his brother back at home who was struggling. Because he had he's trying to make the NHL. That's the hardest thing to do. So I didn't want to put that on him. But I used what I was going through to help him in a way that, like, I would always give him pregame speeches all the time. It'd be like a text like this long, like just kind of what I was thinking, what he should be thinking, what happens when hockey's done. Like I have no regrets now that hockey's done because I put every ounce of it into it. If I wouldn't have, I would have regrets and it would kill me. And I just try and like tell him that like, and it's funny now, after, like, once he made the NHL and he won and he went to the Knights and he kind of solidified himself as an NHLer, I didn't have to text him anymore because I felt like he got it. You know, like, he didn't need to be told. And now the coolest part is that, like, Berkeley Catton is living with him. And I worked with him growing up. And he was one of the only kids growing up that I thought had a chance to make the NHL. And now he's living with Chandler, and Chandler's doing what I did to Chandler to him.
Wow.
It's just like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
I might as well share it before G asks that question. I think this is one of the coolest stories. Share this story of when Burks got his first goal and Chandler's boy. Share this cool story.
Well, when we were in Seattle, Burke hadn't scored yet. He's a goal scorer, supposed to, like, 100-point seasons. He was struggling, like, you could tell. And Chandler's kids are really good for him because when he comes home, they don't care if he was -7. You know, they just care that it's Berkeley, and we're gonna, like, they just treat him like he's a normal person, and it kind of gets him away from the rink. And Ford, Chandler's oldest boy, who loves hockey, just happened to say to Berkeley, "Get your first goal tonight." And Berkeley's like, yeah, okay, buddy, I'll try." And then he scores. And it was just like, they have it on their ring camera, him saying it, and Berkeley going, "Yeah, okay, buddy, I'll try." And it was just crazy that, like, Ford called it. And now it's just cool to see Chandler being Burke's mentor, I guess, if Burke would call him that.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. And just, yeah, it's like just how the universe works sometimes. I think, like, it's a paying it forward type situation there, and just, like, really cool that, you know, your brother got to experience it from you and, you know, is able to pay it forward. I just love that.
Well, can I say something else?
Sure.
Chad Martin introduced me to Berkeley's dad. So we went and played this, like, rec hockey tournament, me and Chad, and Berkeley's dad came because he was buddies with him. And I met, his name's Chris Catton. And it was like, I didn't know who I just thought it was just another guy I was meeting at the time. But now that Berkeley's living with Chandler, it's just like really full circle that, like, Marty introduced me to this guy. And then also this, like, like, Berkeley was like 3 at the time. Like, I had no idea who he was. He's like, "Oh yeah, my son, this, whatever." And then starts working with me. And then I just remembered Chris would be like, "Hey, aren't you, like, Marty's buddy?" I'd be like, "Yeah." Like, okay. So I'm kind of like working, like, Marty's passed. I'm going to, like, this, I remember this kid. I'm going to help this kid, you know? It's just like Marty, like, and then he left, went to Spokane, got drafted to Seattle. Chandler was with the Knights.
Right.
Thought they'd never be together. And then the Knights never re-signed Chandler. The Kraken gave him the best opportunity, and it's now, like, this year, Burke went 2 months. He was living in a hotel, hadn't had a home-cooked meal. Chandler invited him and this other guy over for supper, and Berkeley was just eating this supper going, oh, this is the best thing I've ever had. And I was like, it's just chicken and vegetables, man, and rice. Like what? He's like, well, I just haven't had a home cooked meal since I've been here.
Yeah.
And I think Chandler was like, shit, that must suck, man. Like, so then he talked to Tasha, his wife, and they talked about it and thought like they have a big enough house that he can live in the basement, and they invited him and he said sure. And it's probably been the best thing that's ever happened to them recently, because it's probably the best decision Chandler's made, because like Ford has a big brother, a mentor who he plays with, and Chandler's a mentor, and it's full circle.
I love it. You can't make it up, right?
Yeah,
It's
incredible.
great stuff, man. I want to go back briefly just to kind of some of the darkness and the level of it, because you briefly touched on it. I know Deej and I have our own darkness, and I went deep, man. And there was a lot of, especially, you know, I was a lot later in life when my career ended, right? I was 30 years old, you know, injuries, addiction, all of a sudden it's over. And I remember questioning everything. And I was to the point where I was suicidal, because my whole identity was hockey. You know, I'd lost my family because of addiction, and yeah, there was a lot of questioning of if it was worth going on anymore. Did you get to that level? And you know, when it did get as dark as it did, I know you mentioned talking to people and stuff, but what were some other things maybe that helped propel you out of that darkness, brother?
One thing that I remember was when I was 25, I took 7 years off of hockey, and I had this feeling in my body that, like, just intuition that, like, you should try out again. And I was like, there's no way. Like, I didn't want to, but I was like, I just had this feeling that you should try out again. So I talked with Dave Adolph and said, hey, like, I'd like to try out for your team. I used to play hockey with his son growing up in the Flyer zone, like, our whole lives. So he knew who I was. Max had concussion issues too. He had to come home from Kelowna, same exact thing. And Dave was like, sure, you can come try out. I have 10 recruits coming. Good luck, sort of thing. I was like, okay, you don't know what I'm like. I trained 5 days a week with my brother. I skated 3 times a week. Like, I was ready to go back to the NHL. And it was a way for me to feel like a hockey player again and spend time with Chandler and kind of be like kids again, where we're going for it. In my mind, I knew it wasn't going to work out.
Really, hey?
Like, in the back of my mind, I knew, like, there's no way I'm not going to get injured, you know, but I'm still going to do this. So was going through tryouts, made it through, like, the cuts. We went to Regina. We dressed 5 lines. I was the 5th line. It was my first game back in 7 years. I remember being on the bus. Everyone's having a good time. I'm sitting by myself, just crying on the bus. And guys were like, are you okay, Stevie? Like, what's going on? I was just like, I just can't believe I get to play again. They had no idea how I felt. They had no idea what that meant. Like, guys who had never lost it, like, oh, I've been a hockey player my whole life. It's like, you have no idea what it's like to lose it and then get a chance to do it again. And I only played like 6 minutes, but I remember my dad came to watch, and it was just like, that 6 minutes was all I needed. Made it through cuts again. I didn't know this, but I made the team on this Monday. We were practicing. I pivoted, kind of fell on my hip, little whiplash, concussed myself in practice, but I didn't know, because I was like, I want to make this team. So then we got skated after this just to get in shape. And I remember I was like beating guys by a full length of the ice in this big skate, just because I loved it. Like, it wasn't punishment to me, because it's like, I get to do this again. Like, nothing in hockey was punishment ever again to me. You know, the stuff that you hated, it was like, I loved that stuff, because I missed that because I got taken away from me. And then with the rush of, like, the blood and, like, the lack of oxygen, it made my concussion worse. So then when I left the ice, I went and told the trainers. CTV was there. They wanted to do a thing on me about my comeback. So I basically was like telling the trainers, I'm concussed, I'm not okay, I'm done again. They snuck me out the back while CTV is waiting for me to do this interview with me about my comeback. I sat I drove to the field house and I sat in the parking lot and I just cried and thought about like it happened again. It's whole, like I knew it happened again. And I got suicidal when it got like too much. Like school was too hard. Like I have a test, I have a assignment, I have all this stuff piling up that I can't get done, if that makes sense. And then when you start struggling and like you're sitting in your tests and like you like, I just bombed that, or like I did terrible on that essay, or the voice just comes in. It's almost, you think it's better if you aren't here. But I thought, like I went through the whole thought experiment of like, what would happen if I killed myself? And I thought the first thing was like what Chandler would do and what would happen to Chandler. And then instantly I couldn't do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I was like, the world, like it would be easier if I left. That's what I thought. But then I thought of how hard it would have made life for my family and going forward. And that's kind of what made me go like, Colton, like, what are you doing? Why are you like, you like, I want to be here for a long period of time and have a good life and like support my brother. I didn't want to leave early because I quit, you know, because it was too hard, you know. And like I never want, if I do that, then he can. I always thought that if I quit, he can quit. And I never wanted him to quit, and I never wanted him to go through life having a brother that committed suicide. And I think Chandler is probably the biggest reason why I didn't, and why I stayed so positive on the right side of things, was because I didn't want to go down the trail that made him not proud of me, you know.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Thanks for sharing that, Colt. We're going to take a quick little break here with Colton Stephenson. Episode of After is proudly sponsored by the Mental Health Classic Hockey Tournament. This isn't just hockey. It's about bringing families, athletes, and communities together to start real conversations about mental health. It's about showing young athletes they're not alone and that it's okay to talk about whatever they are going through. Sign up your son or daughter for Saskatoon August 8th and 9th, or Kindersley August 15th and 16th at mentalhealthclassic.ca. That's mentalhealthclassic.ca. Let's hit the ice, have fun, and make a real impact on and off the ice. Welcome back to episode 7, Away from the Rink After Podcast. Got Colton Stephenson here, man. It has been a great podcast, a lot of great insight. I wanted to ask you now, Colts, now you're working with this new generation of hockey players. I work out at your gym every morning at 6. You're on the ice every day helping out this new generation of hockey players. What do you think is the biggest like pressures that they face, like the struggles? Like what are you hearing around the rink? Because you and I both know this hockey's definitely changed back when we played, us three played. But what do you think is the biggest struggles or pressures these kids are facing now?
I think honestly to make it at any level, like it feels like they have to make tier 1, and if they don't, it's a problem or it's the end of the world. I just feel like the kids feel a lot of pressure when it's supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like minor hockey, like you don't sign up to play hockey to not have fun. Like that's the point of the whole thing. You don't sign up for the pressure of it. And I feel like the pressure only comes from the parents thinking like that hockey matters, but it doesn't. Like until you're getting paid to play, then it matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're paying to play, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying, you can play. But as soon as you want to make it, and you can't pay to play.
Yeah.
Like you can't pay to play in the dub. You can't pay to play in the East Coast. You can't pay to play on AAA. You have to make it. And you have to like, I wish kids had more fun. Like I wish I had more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have, like, those were the good days. Now that when you look back on it, like the bantams, the peewees, even midget was the good days. Because once it turns into a business, you feel like an X and an O, and you're told the system, you're not allowed to play your, like, however you want. You have to dump it and chase it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to shoot it off the far pad. You can't stick handle it one extra time, you got to get the puck out on the wall. It's not fun anymore because winning matters, and there's a business trying to make money and put a winning product on the ice. And I just feel like a lot of the kids now feel that pressure to put a winning product on the ice, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And you get that at a young age too, hey?
Well, the kids put it on themselves. Yeah. Like if they miss the net, they're slamming their stick, and it's like, it doesn't, who cares?
Yeah. Now, what about these older guys? I know you work with junior A kids. Obviously, in the off season, when we're in the gym, there's a lot of junior A kids coming to work out with you. What are some struggles with those guys? Obviously, junior A guys. I know there's a couple junior B, got a couple dub guys. What do they? Because obviously, I see athletes coming to you and talking. I know we kind of met a couple, Vaughn Waterroot, to our good buddy there. We kind of helped them out and stuff. But what are these older guys? Maybe they are on Div 1 and stuff and don't have to worry about that stuff. Like, what are some things that they're struggling with?
I think that struggle is like when you're the guy and you're the best player your whole life, and then you go somewhere else and it's like there's 20 other guys just as good as you, and it's like, okay, now what's the difference? It's like if talents, if all the like the talent's the same, and it comes down to like work ethic and what, like, I like to say, like, it's more about what you don't do. So like from 16 to 25, you're getting introduced to stuff in life that you've never been introduced to, like with drugs and alcohol and girls and parties and being able to drive and kind of live and do whatever you want. And I feel like that part of life really gets guys, because kids are good until they're 16, but until you put life on them and what, like, those hard decisions in front of them, then you don't really know. That's why teams are taking so much time in drafting these players and figuring out like what kind of person they are, or what kind of family they come from, and like who they are versus how good they are, because they're coming into their organization and they're representing their organization. And I always wanted to represent an organization well and be someone that they were proud of to have. And like even now to this day, I still try and be a good pro. Like I it's kind of silly, but like I tell myself that if we could redo it, if we like could go back and do it again, like I'm trying to be a first rounder still.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that. And it's a good mentality to have, because I see it firsthand. He's inspiring to all of us. We're at the gym and Colt, he's one guy you can test. And what I love about Colton is he reaches out to you and just asks how you're doing. Hey man, you're looking good. You should try this next time. Like he cares, you know what I mean? And it's crazy how to think about life, Colt. Everything that you've been through, everything, all the ups and the downs, this is where you are today. You know, you're a personal trainer, you're on the ice, a lot of guys look up to you, and it's because probably you've been through life experience, everything you've been through, and guys look up to you and stuff. And I think that is super cool. What do you think about G?
Yeah, you said some good stuff there, and I kind of go back to my, to my progression through my career, and I didn't have someone like Colton to guide me, not just like from a performance standpoint, but just like the mental side of it, right? And I got a Div 1 scholarship at 18, after tearing up the SJ, and just thought that was the next step. And now I go to school at 19, and I'm playing with men, and that was a shocker. And then on top of that, I'm ill-equipped to handle the academic side of it and being in a different country. And, I just think it's so important that you're able to help guide this next generation, because we didn't have that.
No.
Right. And I think it was there if you seeked it out. Like I remember guys even going to Alberta in the off season, personal trainer, parents were trying to maybe push them in that direction. But for me, my parents did the best they could, but it was kind of like, here's the next thing you're going to do. And so I just went and did it. But the guidance wasn't there, man. I was kind of just on my own.
Yeah, and especially when you said about like when they get the draft years, they're diving into the kids more and how they are as a person. And thank you for sharing that, because we had Robin Ulrich, the assistant coach in the Huskies, said the exact same thing. That she's looking for how they are away from the rink. They'll call the high school teacher, they'll call the opposing coaches, they'll call whatever to see how you are as a person. And that is so true, Colts. Now today, I know you got a special relationship with your brother, and I think it's the coolest thing. Are you almost thankful that you kind of went through what you've been through to kind of give that extra, older brother figure to Chandler?
Yeah.
He was obviously a hell of a hockey player. We all knew that he was probably going to the NHL, but I'm talking about not on the ice, because you didn't play in the A, you didn't play in the N, but I'm talking life skills. you have the life skills now. Is this helping, you think, your younger brother?
We don't like, the part that's tough is that he's gone for 8
Mm-hmm.
months of the year. So when we do get to spend time together, it's almost trying to fast track like time.
Mm-hmm.
Him becoming a dad, and he's around a very strong mental people all the time. Like, he's around the best athletes in the world. He is one himself. He's constantly dialed in. He's constantly switched on. Like, I almost like, I kind of look up to him now,
Mm-hmm.
because he's doing things that I was like our dream, and he does it in a way that, like, it's just hockey now. Like, I remember when he won the cup with Vegas, it was game 5, and I was nervous as hell, because, like, you only get so many chances to get there, and he already won one, but it's like, I thought this was the last chance. Like, he's only gonna get, like, you only get so many chances. So, like, I was nervous, and I said to him, I was like, "Are you nervous?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "What? Like, how aren't you nervous?" And he goes, "It's just a game 104, bro."
Wow.
And I was like, and him saying that, I was just like, it kind of made me like, I was like in awe of him, because I was like, it's the biggest stage that you've ever been on, that we dreamed of, and this is game 104 of the year, and that's just how he looked at it. And it was just like, holy shit, like the moment's not too big for you.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna step on that ice, and I'm not worried about you,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't. It's just, and I think he trusted his teammates. I think all his teammates felt that same way. That's just like, it's game 104, and they're gonna get it done. And it's hard for me, because, like, you guys obviously know, like, when you're on the bench and you can contribute to the game, you're not as nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're watching and you can't, you're just sitting there, and you just got to watch the bounces happen, and you got to watch it play out, and you don't get to help. So I think when Chandler said that, it kind of gave me a sense of, like, I kind of put me at ease, because if he's not nervous, why would I be nervous? You know, just because I couldn't watch the game,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just cool to see him go, it's just game 104, and he wasn't too high, he wasn't too low, he was just another game, and they went and won the cup.
Yeah.
And it was just cool to see it, like, see him do that. Like,
Yeah.
he owned it, and he just was like, at that point I was like, you're the coolest guy I know. You know,
Yeah,
I was like, Stanley Cup final today, and you're like, it's game 104, bro. I
Yeah,
was like,
that's so
fuck
cool.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gangster, you know?
Yeah, just dialed, but not like to the point where there's that any type of added pressure on
he knew-
himself, right?
yeah.
Wild.
Like, I know, like, my buddies, like Fertz,
Yeah.
like, he's like, how does he play in that? Like, guys who don't play, it's like, how could you play in that kind of
Yeah.
pressure? And he's built for it.
Yeah.
He's made for it.
Fucking
And
wild.
he just confident, just believes in
Yeah.
himself. He's not wigging, he's not going, oh, I'm not gonna be good tonight, I'm not gonna score, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, you know, he's just,
But you and I both know Colts. I know you're kind of being a little easy on yourself, but you got to be a big part of why he's like that growing up. Mentally strong and tough like that. Because what if he didn't have an older brother like you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he used me,
Mm-hmm.
but I just know that, like, I was setting the pace. I was a pace car, and keep setting the pace.
Yeah.
I never once looked back to see, like, I still haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, because he's Chandler's so good at life and everything that
Yeah.
I can't let him catch me.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I gotta stay on top of that pace car, because he is success in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I live in his shadow, and I'm okay with it, because I would way rather him have made it than me if one of us had to make it, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Because I can't, like, it makes me feel a certain type of way to know that I can't imagine how he feels knowing that this got taken from me. Because I know it affects him, because in interviews he'll give me my flowers. Like, he'll say, like, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that growing up. I was just trying to make it myself, and he was trying to beat me,
Mm-hmm.
and him trying to beat me made him into a person that could make the NHL. And I don't know. It's just I've always seen him as like an equal, and he's been my best friend. I've never thought of him as competition. Like I have, but like it was never like mean, or like I was never like
jealous
or envious or like, I can't believe it's you.
Yeah.
You know, like because of Chandler, I got to live vicariously through him, and I know what it's like to play in the NHL. Like I kind of know what it's like to lift the Stanley Cup, like because he did it. Like because we're so close, I can like when he's in the room before the game, like I'm nervous as fuck.
Yeah.
When he comes out of the tunnel, I'm nervous as fuck. Like when it's the first face-off, I know how he feels in those moments, so I can kind of experience what it's like.
Yeah.
But I love my life. Like I would hate to have someone tell me that I have to be here at this time. You know, like Chandler has to, he's their property. He's their property for 8 months of the year. He can't go on a vacation with me. He can't take a day off. Like when there's a game, he has to be there. And he gets paid very well for that. But I don't think I would have done very well in that environment of being told what and when and how, and you know, not really being in control of your life other than how you play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You mentioned that you love your life today, Colton, and I kind of want to touch on, you know, identity and purpose a little bit, because I know for me it took getting sober to find that purpose. Like I was able to, you know, people helped me. People extended that hand when I came in, lost, broken, didn't know what to do, you know, set the example. And then I was able to start helping, you know, other men walk that path. Was there a turning point for you when, you know, you recognized that your purpose or part of your identity was going to be, you know, helping this next generation? Or when was that big shift for you, man? And does it look the same today?
I never really thought I would be this. I think having Chandler as my younger brother kind of prepared me for it. And like Chandler's success, Chandler's life experience, my life experience, like I know a lot of how what the kids are going to go through now. I try to make all the kids feel welcome and important and special and like they matter, and I try and put like, I want every kid to be a good person at the end of the day, because if they make it, they make it. If they don't, they don't, whether they're a good player or not. Like all that matters is if they're a good person at the end of the day. And I just want to treat every kid like my parents taught me to treat every person the same, whether it's the CEO or the janitor. And I always wanted to be a role model growing up, but you don't realize how much pressure it is once you are one. And when people look up to you and you have to make the right decisions and help people and help them make their decisions. And like, there's been times I've wanted to quit and not been this, but you can't, because the kids are looking up to you. My brother's looking up to you. Like, and with this job, like when it comes to like working out, like I can't tell DJ to do this if I don't do it. That's just it's like, oh, hey man, you got to be sober, but I'm drunk. Or you got to do cardio, but I never do cardio. Or like, I never tell someone to do something that I don't do. And I feel like my life experience has allowed me to understand what to do and what not to do. And I just try and like, I don't really talk with kids like this that much, but I just hope that my energy and how I am and how I treat them rubs off, and they want to be like me in a way, just by how they treat people and how they look after themselves, you know?
For sure.
And I see it too, because I'm obviously firsthand in Colton's life, and yeah, every time you go into his workout facility, Colton's a well looked up to man. I've noticed that quick. A little story on how kind of me and Colton kind of lingered together. I'll never forget, man. You're obviously a big part of my life, big part of my recovery, changed me in many ways with my physical and working out and stuff, but I'll never forget. So I moved here about 2.5 years ago. Obviously knew people around Saskatoon, but I went on my addiction way. So my hockey guys, they're out of my life, and hoping one day I could reconcile with guys. And I did a little video. I had a little a video to do at the Shro Arena, first time heading back there for 10 years. And I remember I had a video in the Shro, and I didn't know, Colt, that you had a workout facility until I remember I looked up on social media, I looked up your name. I knew you were doing a little bit with counter move. And I remember I walked into your workout room and nobody was there, but I walked up there. I'm like, fuck, like this is pretty cool. And I remember looking up Colton's name, and I send you a message on Instagram. And going way back, I used to play summer hockey with Colt. I used to stay at his house, me being in Kinnersley. I used to stay at Colton's parents' house, and that's kind of how we became buddies and played against each other growing up in midget AAA and a little bit in the dub or whatever. But obviously, both of our lifestyles, we went our separate ways. But I sent him a message like, hey, Colton, man, hopefully you're doing well. I'm just at your gym. It's pretty cool gym. And I remember, Colton, you got back to me immediately, man. You're like, hey, Deej, and you're like, do you want to come work out? And my initial thought was like, hey, I'm trying to find an excuse, because I kind of know, looking at Colton's pictures, he's physically in shape and stuff. And then Colton's like, no, seriously, come at 6 a.m. And I'm like, okay. I think I came a couple of days later, and I've never looked back, man. And I just want to say thank you, because you're a hell of a leader to me and to all the boys. Like I was telling G-Bones before you came here, like we go to Colton's parents' house and Colton has shirts, clothes laid out for us. Like he takes care of us, and that's why he says what he says, because it's true. He looks after his people, and I just want to thank you for that, because you're one of my best friends, man.
Thanks,
and
man.
it's really inspiring in what you do, and thank you for coming on, G-Bones. Do you have anything else you want to ask Colton?
I don't think just kind of back to your last answer there on and this has come up in a lot of our conversations. And one of the things that first drew me towards DJ's story was this accountability piece. And you touched on that, not wanting to quit, or really not having, not being able to afford to quit because of these people that look up to you, and how that betters you. Right. And that's a big piece for me as well. And I really relate to both of you when you share that, because I'm trying to help other people now, right? And obviously have to show up as, a partner and a parent. And if I don't, or choose not to, those people are affected and more than likely affected negatively. So I just really appreciate you both for touching that on again, that accountability piece, because it really, really helps me see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I think it's important that it's not selfish to look after yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't fill other people's buckets when your bucket's empty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not selfish to have a full bucket. I don't know, it's people think it is, but like I look after myself so well so that I can look after other people. But if you're not healthy, you can't look after anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're sick, the last thing you're worried about is anybody else. All you care about is getting better. But when you're healthy, you have extra energy to give away. But when you're not, if you're struggling, you're hungover, you didn't sleep, like you're not looking after yourself, you don't have that's when people are grumpy and irritable and don't have the patience for their family, or even I look after myself as good as I can, and I still have my patience, or
The tolerance,
it's a tolerance,
Yeah.
But it's I have way more tolerance the better I look after myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the less I look after myself, the less tolerance I have.
Yeah, it's like direct correlation, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And and you're accountable. You gotta, if you don't, accountability is a big thing. It's one thing that Marty taught me is even if it's not your fault, if you can take the blame, that's cool. Because no one likes taking the blame.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can take the blame, even if it's not your fault, or there's a saying I like that's if you make it, it's your fault. And if you don't make it, it's your fault. It's all your fault. If you're healthy, it's your fault. If you're unhealthy, it's your fault. If you have good relationships, it's your fault. If you have bad relationships, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's
not all your fault.
The fault doesn't have to be that negative connotation. It can actually be the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. Yeah, I love that.
That's a good way of saying it. Colts, I got one final question. I know this is a relation to you sitting in your Jeep or whatever, but I want you to kind of help out an athlete that's was in your shoes. Maybe an injury, maybe something's going on in their career where they got to make that important decision and they're scared. Maybe scared to tell mom and dad, who am I after hockey? Because I've been a hockey player all along. Hell, it's hard. I've been through it. You've been through it. G-Bones, you've been through it. We've been hockey players our whole life. Something has to happen in our career or life where something changes, and it's hard. It's hard to find who you are, trying to find responsibilities, accountability when you're out of the game and try to find who you are. What's something you could tell these athletes, Colt? Maybe a kid's in your position that was in your position, maybe abrupt injury, something happened in their life, and they have to quit hockey, quit a sport, quit something that their identity is in, and now they got to make a big switch. Who am I now? That is very hard for athletes. I know us three have been through that. What's something that you've done that you know now, Colt, that maybe you could help out an athlete that's struggling or going through it?
Like, one thing with identity is you don't just get to choose who you are. You have to put forth like habits and work to become who you want to be. And like when I lost hockey, I lost my identity, but I had to make someone else. I didn't just get to choose who I was. And I had to make someone that I was proud of, and doing the hard things, doing the things like getting through school was something that I never thought I could do. And I got through it. That gave me so much confidence. Like waking up in the morning, getting up early, that gives me confidence. And just like, it's going to be okay if you believe it's going to be okay. And if you are telling yourself it's not going to be okay, then it's not. And you create your life. You create whatever you believe is what you're going to create.
Yeah.
And I believed, even with losing hockey, that it was going to be okay and I was going to be successful regardless of what I did. And I had that faith in me that I was like, no matter what it was, I was going to be successful and it was going to work out. And I think if you can see the bigger picture and like there's more to life than hockey or whatever you're doing, like there's so much to life that you can enjoy. Like I enjoyed this, you know, like I enjoy training you guys. I enjoy hockey. Like there's so much more. Like hockey was such a small part of my life, and now I can enjoy so much more of life because of what hockey taught me. So
That is, yeah, it's inspiring stuff, man. I just wish, like, I don't know if you guys can relate, but when we're going through it, like how much we could appreciate it, you know? Like I didn't, like looking back how you said that you're thankful to be here right now. Like it's just small things that you're thankful for, you know what I mean? So Colts, man, this has been incredible. Parents, athletes, I please strongly suggest you guys listen to this. If anyone wants to like look you up, Colt, and maybe know more, a little bit about you, maybe your program that you do, what's your socials that you could say so people want to check you out?
Stevenson77 on Instagram. Yeah, that's all
Stevenson, okay, Stevenson77 on Instagram. We'll put that in the bio or whatever. But hey, man, yeah, I'm super proud of you. Super proud of you to call you my brother. It's inspiring stuff. This is kind of like the first real story I've heard in your career, and it's inspiring stuff. G, what do you have anything to say?
No, just been a pleasure, buddy, and like hopefully hopefully you're okay with me personally keeping in touch with you, man. Because gained a lot of insights today, and always looking to like expand my network for people who can help me be better. So yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
Yeah, no, this has been incredible. And this is exactly why we do it. Bring on guys just like Colton, because I'm a big believer is life experience, man. Whatever we go through in life, I think it's meant for something. You know what I mean? And during that time, it might be the end of the world. You think your life's crashing, but if you keep stringing on, if you keep working on yourself every day, we always hear it one day at a time, but it's the right thing. And one day you're going to start getting people, places, things back in your life at the right time. And that's the beauty of it, right? So,
and that just shows how much like G has grown, obviously. Like normally you think you can only learn stuff from older people.
Yeah.
You know, and you think, since they're older, they know more, but that's not what I've learned. Like I feel like from my life experience, I've had a lot of life experience that a lot of older adults haven't had. And I felt that, like, I thought my life was normal until I got older, and you start actually having more experience, and you're like, wow, people don't a lot of people haven't been through some stuff.
I know.
You know?
I know.
And like, because I've been through stuff, like I think I can learn something from my 12-year-old kid that's on the ice. Like, I think I can learn something from him, my grandma. I can learn something from everyone. Yeah. And because I've been through what I've been through, that's how I think. But I think it's just a testament to how far you've come, is that like you're looking to someone that's younger for not advice, but like just experience.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people won't look to younger people, or won't admit that someone could have someone they know, or like that I could have something that you could need, and you could have something that I need to hear. You know, just stuff like that.
Yeah, and G Bones has an incredible story, man.
Sure.
I was a stick boy back in the day when he was at the Kinner City Clippers, and he spoke at my tournament, the Mental Health Classic, 2 years ago. or 3 years ago. It was my very first tournament.
3 summers ago.
And
yeah.
you're okay with me, obviously, the
Of
mental health
course.
podcast.
Yep.
But Gio's, I looked up to him so much. A hell of a hockey player. Seen him on the internet kind of doing his thing, and I told him to come speak at my tournament. And that's when I really got to know him. And he did an incredible work. You're coming off a high, and all of a sudden you go home and you relapse.
Yep.
Obviously stuck with him. I got to help him. I went to his house, drove him to a tryout center and whatnot. But G has really learned, like, is having that accountability piece is very important to you. Gio's came a long ways. He's helping coach the U15 AA team. Now he's slowly getting back in the game. But you're right. It's vulnerability. It's conversations. You go back to, you don't really hear people or older people's stories and stuff and hearing it from younger guys. Well, vulnerability is the most fucking powerful thing out there. Because how are you supposed to know somebody through their eyes by not sharing, right? And that's why when you share your story, like, I've learned so much. And I know you, but I've learned so much. And G, right there, this is why we started this podcast, to have real lived experiences and talk about shit that we never talked about back in the day.
And that's kind of like something with me too, is that I look very healthy, but when my brain's not healthy, it's like people are like, oh, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no idea what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But people are quick to judge, or not, like, they don't know you never know what someone's going through.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I realized that people never assumed I was going through anything because I looked healthy.
Yeah.
And would never ask, and they just assumed. And it was very easy to hide it because I looked healthy.
Yeah.
You know?
See, this is important. I know we're kind of wrapping up here, but I want to talk about the concussion part, because what you just said right there, concussions is tough, right? And back in the day, there wasn't that knowledge. There was no knowledge of concussions. You get your bell rung, you see a Tweety bird, well, you're back out there. How is that going through your transition? Obviously, you know the knowledge now with your concussions, but at that time, were you feeling like, I don't want to feel weak. I don't want to let my coaches, my team down with concussions. I think I'm okay. I'm feeling good at one time, but 5, man.
Well, it was like, I was lucky in a way that Crosby got a concussion in the same time. So as soon as he got hurt, the best player in the world, everyone was like, oh, concussions. So then it was like, everyone kind of started taking a closer look and taking more time off and just taking it more seriously. It's such a invisible injury that you can't test it. You can't, and it's like my word versus their word. So like, I could fake it. I could tell you I'm not good to go and lie on the test and stuff. But then it also goes the other way. Like, the concussion test that you do on the computer, it's like a bunch of like games, not games, but it's like kind of like a video game. And I got really good at this game because I do the testing all the time. So like, my testing scores would be like, oh, you passed. And I'm like, well, I've just done this test so many times. And I was ready to go back all the time, but I was lucky that I had a trainer who kept me out, because he knew I wasn't good. But I would have kept playing.
Yeah.
And I was also fortunate in that my symptoms were really bad. Like, my symptoms lasted like 3 to 4 months, where it's like dark room, like not okay to drive for like a long period of time. So I was like okay to take some time off, but it was like those 3 to 4 months, like, they taught me a lot about mental health, because when you're hurt and your brain's hurt, it doesn't function the same. So it's like, hey, if it can function like this, not being right, like, I wonder how many times I've listened to that voice in my head that's not been right. Yeah. Or like, it's just, that's the voice in your head isn't you. Yeah. You know, it's just this thing that your brain creates to try and keep you alive. Yeah. You know, and the concussions, it's like, it's a big teacher, because if I got a knee injury, I would still be playing. If it was something that you could get fixed, I'd still be playing. But I feel like God gave me something that I couldn't be tougher than, so I had to stop. Yeah. You know,
it's a good way of thinking about it, man. It's powerful stuff. Yeah. Colt, man, thanks. A guy that I could definitely talk to for all day on this. Pretty awesome. But hey, anyone out there struggling, pick up that phone. I always go back to Mr. Walsh on the Eagles. That phone could weigh 30 pounds, but pick up that phone, because that one conversation could save your life. But that is episode 7 on After Away from the Rink podcast. Until next time, it's okay to not be okay. Let's go.